vice president candidate. I'm telling you, Mike Pence is the real deal. He's a congressman, he's a governor, and he can absolutely bring value to this ticket. We can win. This is our time. Without further ado, I'm going to bring up a man in just a minute that you all know and love. But first, guys, we cannot miss this opportunity. We cannot allow Hillary Rodham Clinton one more night in our White House. Now, it's my honor. Mike Pence is in the house, okay? We're hurrying through here, but I want to tell you, it gives me great privilege. Rock her up. All right. Governor Pence is in the house. I got one guy that I want you to hear from. And I'm telling you, I love him like a brother. He doesn't need an introduction. My brother from another mother, Herman Cain.
Thank you all for being here. And many of you all. And one of the unfortunate things that I have discovered about politics, it didn't just start right now, is that there are too many lies that are trying to influence the American people. And so I want to refute 3 lies very quickly about what's going on in the Trump-Pence campaign. Lie number 1. There are 2 perceptions of race relations in America. The one through the lens of the liberal media, which is negative and divisive. The other perception of race relations in America relates to the experiences that you have with people you interact with every day. That's the real state of race relations in America. So when you hear all of this BS about America is a divided nation, no, it is not. They want you to believe that we are divided, so you will give up on Donald Trump and Mike Pence, and you're not going to do that. We don't have a race relations issue in America. They do. I went to the grocery store on Sunday to pick up a loaf of bread. That was my honey-do list for the day. I went in the grocery store and white people wanted to take pictures with me. What kind of race relations are we talking about? They got it all wrong. Lie number 2. Donald Trump is a racist. Let me save y'all some time. Let me save the media some time, but they're not going to put this on the nightly news, I can tell you. I'm a black man. Shocker. I was raised in the segregated South here in Atlanta. The South is no longer racist. I have lived all over this country, and the United States of America is not racist. The only reason that the liberals and Hillary want you to believe that this nation is racist and that Donald Trump is racist and that Mike Pence might be racist is because they want to divide you based on lies, and that is a lie. Now, here's one thing I know about racists. They look down on people. I know Donald Trump. He does not look down on anybody. He is not a racist at all. And lie number 3, I got a lot of them, but I only have time for 3. Lie number 3. Georgia is on the edge of either going red or blue. That it is a close race. That it could flip to the Democrats in 2016. This is what they want the people to believe. That's the other lie. And to those that believe that Georgia just might vote Democrat in November 2016, I have one word for that I learned from my grandfather, and I'm going to paraphrase: bull feathers. It ain't going to happen. Does a bull have feathers? They're trying to brainwash folk. Now I'm supporting Donald Trump and Mike Pence because the difference is as night and day. And I got so tired of answering questions about stuff that didn't matter. I put together something called a Trump card that many of you all have heard about that shows you the night and day difference between Donald Trump and Hillary. So when you are trying to get other people to see the light, you give them a Trump card that you can get on my website. And everybody in here knows how to get those Trump cards. It's real simple. And it returns people to those things that are important, not the BS that the media wants to use to distract people. I have been impressed in getting to know Republican vice presidential nominee Mike Pence. Oh, we're never going to get them on board. That's why we're going to have to get the voters on board. And I'll leave you with this. The one thing that Mike Pence has said over and over and over again that has impressed me, amongst many things about him that has impressed me about what he said: he is a man of humility, he's a man of faith, and I'm not going to steal his thunder. He'll tell you what he stands for. He's humble and he's believable. But I'll never forget when my wife and I first heard him give his acceptance speech to accept the nomination of being the VP candidate for the Republican ticket. Mike Pence said two things that day. He has said it many other times, and I play it over and over on my radio show because I believe it captures the essence of why so many of you are here and why I am here. Mike Pence has said, and he said during that speech, America is tired of being told this is good as it gets. We know it can be better than what it is right now. And lastly, Republican Vice Presidential candidate Mike Pence has also reminded America that the American people are sick and tired of being told that we'll solve it tomorrow and we'll get to it later. Donald Trump and Mike Pence are going to solve stuff today. The American people deserve that. And so in closing, when they try to tell you that your vote doesn't count, that's bull feathers. When they try to tell you that Hillary has it in the basket, that's bull feathers. That's what they want you to believe. And no matter how many people you try to talk to, remember something that I remind you of all the time: save the savable. Because you can't save stupid, but you can save the savable. So don't waste your time on stupid people. Some of them are going to escape from stupid land with your help, but not all of them. And if we do our part, I know that Donald Trump and Mike Pence and all of his supporters will do their part. Senator David Perdue, my brother from another mother, is doing his part. And if we all do our part, we will have as the next president of the United States, Donald Trump, and the next vice president of the United States, Governor Mike Pence.
In recent years, this country has gone to hell. And the crack's getting bigger on the side of that Liberty Bell. Well, Clinton, Obama, and the Democratic crew sure did a number on me and you. It wasn't my vote, you can blame yourselves for that. But we got a chance to turn things around. You can get your butt up off the ground and understand we're all gonna have to work. This big old country was built on sweat, and if we're gonna make it great again, you're gonna get wet. But the first things first, we all gotta vote for Trump. Vote for Trump. Donald Trump. Donald Trump. And to hell with the rest, he'll get us over the hump. And down the road, we'll all go, and the wall will get built by Mexico. But first things first, we all gotta vote for Trump. He understands the working man, tells the truth that we can understand. If you don't like it, you can all just kiss our ass. Kiss our ass. He pays his own way, don't take no crap. Gonna bring back country, get rid of rap. And if nothing else, we can all thank Donald for that. Thank you, Donald. Vote for Trump. Donald Trump. Donald Trump. To hell with the rest, he'll get us over the hump. And down the road, we'll all go, and the wall will get built by Mexico. But the first thing first, we all gotta vote for Trump. Well, little Marco in the
election. We got 71 days. Are you ready to make certain that we end the Clinton-Obama machine? This is a great crowd. Now, you've heard the word out there, you know, that Georgia's turning blue, right? What do you think of that? I don't think so either. I don't know if you saw that Hillary Clinton says she was just going to continue the policies of President Obama. You think that's a good idea? I guess that means that she wants to lead from behind, resulting in U.S. embarrassment around the world and a world much less secure. Do you think that's a good idea? I guess that means that she wants to fold to Russian bravado after her famous reset. Who knows what ally she'll turn our back on next? Do you think that's a good idea? I guess it means that she wants to allow China unfettered access and expansion. Do you think that's a good idea? And how about at home? How about at home? I guess that means that she wants to continue Obama's open borders that are furthering endangering our nation. Is that a good idea? Or expanding Obamacare because it's working so well, right? You know, she's wanted to put the government in charge of health care for decades. Do you think that's a good idea? And apparently she wants to put OSHA and the IRS and EPA and all those other 3- and 4-letter disasters in charge and running roughshod over the American people. Is that a good idea? And if that weren't bad enough, we know that she would appoint Supreme Court justices who support her worldview that the government knows best and you just better get out of the way. Is that a good idea? So the good news, folks, the good news is that we've got a team who will do exactly the opposite. We've got a team that recognizes America's greatness and understands the principles that made her great and want to continue those principles. Donald Trump and Mike Pence. I had the incredible privilege of serving with Mike Pence in the House of Representatives, and I know that when you get to know the Mike Pence that I know, you'll find a man of integrity and a man of humility, a man who maintains the principles that we hold dear in very difficult situations. Whether in Congress or as governor of Indiana, Mike Pence has led with honesty and with honor. And that's exactly the kind of leadership that Mike will bring to the executive branch. Won't that be a good idea? Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming with a big Georgia welcome the First Lady of Indiana, Karen Pence, and the next Vice President of the United States, Governor Mike Pence.
And Ted, it's time to go home and crawl in bed. The campaign's over and the big fat lady sing. And Hillary Clinton don't stand a chance with her preacher hair and her old man pants. Take Bill home, good God, he's getting old. Now let's vote for Trump. Donald Trump. Donald Trump. Yeah, to hell with the rest, he'll get us over the hump. And down the road, baby, we'll all go. And the wall's getting built by Mexico. Well, first things first, we all gotta vote for Trump. Jesus says, vote for Trump.
Hello, Georgia. Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. How about Senator David Perdue, everybody? Thank you for being here, Senator. And the incomparable Herman Cain. Give it up for Herman Cain one more time. Thank you for that stirring address. And I so appreciate my fellow conservative friend I served with in the Congress of the United States and one of the most respected conservatives in Washington, D.C., Congressman Tom Price. Now, Tom's known me a long time, and he knows the introduction I prefer is a little bit shorter than the one he just gave. That is that I'm a Christian, a conservative, and a Republican in that order. And it's just now a little more than a month ago that I was humbled and honored beyond words to accept my party's nomination to run and serve as the next Vice President of the United States of America. And Karen and I are truly humbled and grateful that you're here. You know, I joined this campaign in a heartbeat. I truly did. Because you have nominated a man for president I've had the privilege to get to know. Not just when the Klieg lights are on, but when they're off. And I got to tell you, The man is a fighter. He's a winner. He never backs down. He's got a heart for the American people, and I know that Donald Trump will be the next president of the United States of America. You know, people back in Indiana, I was home over the weekend, they come up to me and say, what is it about Donald Trump? And you know, I'm from south of Highway 40, so we speak pretty plainly down there. I said, I don't know. I said, Donald Trump just gets it. You know what I mean? I mean, he just gets it. He's the genuine article. I truly believe that Donald Trump understands the frustrations and the aspirations of the American people like no leader in my party since Ronald Reagan. I mean, he's a genuine article, distinctly American. And he's a doer in a game usually reserved for talkers. And when Donald Trump does his talking, he doesn't go tiptoeing around all those rules of political correctness that the media and the political class puts in the way of men and women that make a difference. He speaks from his heart and from his mind, and he will make America great again. And frankly, it's just a lot of fun to watch. Especially watching, you know, the other party. I mean, he drives them a little bit crazy. I mean, you think about it, the party in power and all their friends in the media just seem powerless to figure this guy out. I mean, they all keep telling each other, you know, now we got him, right? That tweet, that word. They think the usual methods are going to work, and then they turn on the TV the next morning, and Donald Trump is still standing stronger than ever before and fighting for the American people, and he's going to fight all the way to the White House. You know, it really is pretty amazing if you think about it. At the very moment that the people of Georgia and the people of this country are crying out for something new and different, crying out for real change this time around, the other party has answered with a stale agenda and the most predictable of names. You know, people are restless for change, ready to break free from the failed status quo, the failed patterns in Washington, D.C., and the Democratic Party just anointed someone who represents everything this country is tired of. So let me tell you, Georgia, let me just tell you straight from my heart. For the sake of our security, for the sake of our prosperity, for the sake of the rule of law and preserving the highest standards of integrity in the highest office in the land, we must decide here now that Hillary Clinton will never be elected President of the United States of America. We've got, in Donald Trump, we have a leader. In Donald Trump, we've got a leader. We've got a leader who has a heart for the American people. Donald Trump has never forgotten the men and women who work with their hands, who grow the food, who build our roads and bridges, who tend to our sick, who teach our kids. And let me promise you, as I travel around this country with him, and I see the way he responds to these men and women who serve our communities and our state and our nation, Donald Trump will never forget the men and women of law enforcement who stand on the thin blue line and protect our families each and every day. Never will. You know, as the chief law enforcement officer of the United States of America, I promise you, President Donald Trump will support our law enforcement at every level. He will provide the resources they need to protect our families and come home safe to theirs. And he will fight to restore law and order in every city and every town in the United States of America. He will. Because the Lord knows we need change in this country. 7.5 years. 7.5 years of Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton has weakened America's place in the world and stifled our nation's economy. And we need to talk about it. We need to talk about it. It's amazing when you think of what this administration's leadership has meant to America's place on the world stage. I served for 10 years on the Foreign Affairs Committee. I traveled in and out of Operation Iraqi Freedom and Operation Enduring Freedom. I saw the hard-fought gains in the global war on terror. I stood at funerals with families in Indiana who paid the ultimate sacrifice. And yet, if you looked at a map today of the wider Middle East where those hard-fought gains were won, and a map from 2009 when this administration took office, you almost couldn't recognize them. Before I get into that, can I just ask the people who've worn the uniform of the United States of America, would you raise your hand and allow us to just say thank you one more time for your service to this nation? Thank you. Thank you. You know, it was Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama who compromised the hard-fought gains in Operation Iraqi Freedom. People forget in 2009, things had turned around in Iraq. The surge had worked. Sacrifices of our soldiers and their extraordinary courage had stabilized that country. But because Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton were on a timetable for withdrawal without negotiating another status of forces agreement, we pulled out of Iraq, created a vacuum in which the extraordinary, hideous organization of ISIS was conjured up to compromise territory of Iraq that had been won and secured by American gains. You know, it was Hillary Clinton who actually instigated the disastrous agreement with the radical mullahs in Iran. $150 billion and $400 million on a pallet that we're told is not a ransom for 4 Americans. You know, they can say that delivering $400 million in cash on the very same day that 4 Americans were released wasn't a ransom, but the American people know better, and I'll make you a promise. When Donald Trump is president of the United States of America, we won't be paying ransom to terrorists sponsoring states or terrorists. They'll be paying a price if they threaten the American people or detain or harm our citizens or our allies. I promise you that. You know, history teaches us that weakness arouses evil. And Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama's foreign policy of leading from behind, moving red lines, feigning resets with Russia, and the rise, rule, and reign of ISIS are a testament to this truth of history. And perhaps most striking of all to me, as the proud father of a United States Marine, as the father of a United States Marine, it's important to remember that it was Hillary Clinton who left Americans in harm's way in Benghazi, and after 4 Americans fell, she said, "What difference at this point does it make?" Let me say to each and every one of you, more as a parent than as a candidate for high office, anybody who said that, anybody who did that, should be disqualified from ever serving as Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the United States of America. We cannot have 4 more years apologizing to our enemies and abandoning our friends. America needs to be strong for the world to be safe. And I promise you, from the first day of a Trump administration, we will rebuild our military, restore the arsenal of democracy. We will stand with our allies, and we will confront and hunt down and destroy those who threaten our people and our freedom. Donald Trump will lead with strength on the world stage, and he'll also lead with strength at home. And boy, do we need it. You know, they like to tell us that this economy is doing well. We heard a lot of rosy speeches at their convention. But men and women of Georgia, we're in the weakest economic recovery since the Great Depression. Just this last couple of days, we learned that our economy had grown by just 1.1%, rounded down from the last. We have the lowest labor participation rate since the 1970s, and there's 7 million more Americans living in poverty today than the day that Barack Obama took office. Hillary Clinton's plan, it's more of the same. I mean, she's literally running, and her party is boasting about her running for Barack Obama's third term. More taxes, more regulation, more Obamacare, and more of the same policies on energy that are stifling our nation's economy. $1 trillion in new spending, more than $1 trillion in new taxes. You know, all that spending, Hillary Clinton was asked just the other day how she was going to pay for all those new government programs. She said, quote, "I'll tell you how we're going to pay for it. We're going to go where the money is. We're going to go after super wealthy. We're going to go after corporations. We're going to go after Wall Street." Well, you know, the only problem with that is, as Margaret Thatcher used to say, the problem with socialism is you eventually run out of other people's money. You know, they tell us this economy is the best we can do, but Donald Trump and I know different. Georgia knows different. It's nowhere near the best that we can do. It's just the best they can do. And when Donald Trump becomes president of the United States, we're going to drive policies that unleash the boundless energy of this economy, and we're going to get America working again for every American. Donald Trump has a plan. Donald Trump has a plan to reignite our economy with tax reform, regulatory reform, trade reform, and energy reform. A lot of what conservatives on Capitol Hill have been talking about for a long time, but just simply didn't have a partner in Washington, D.C. to support. That's the truth of it. Now, Donald Trump's going to roll his sleeves up, and he's going to actually embrace that plan the House Republicans put forward. We're going to cut taxes across the board for every American. We're going to lower marginal rates. We're going to end death taxes once and for all. And we're going to lower business taxes so businesses in Georgia can compete with businesses around the world and keep jobs right here. But it's not just about taxation, it's about regulation. That's why Donald Trump on day one is going to do back what we did in the Hoosier State. We cut a few taxes back there in the last 4 years, but we also froze regulations. Donald Trump's going to freeze any new federal regulations. He's going to repeal every Obama executive order on day one that's stifling jobs in Georgia and in this country. And Donald Trump and I both know that the strength of this nation is derived not only from our freedom and from our people and from a foundation of faith and conviction, but also our vast natural resources. And on day one of the Trump administration, the war on coal comes to an end. We're going to allow the American people to call forth the power of this nation and develop all of our resources. And lastly, and Tom and David, if we can get this done on day one, it'd be real good. They actually, before we get inaugurated, the Congress actually convenes. So we'll be looking to them to put on our desk a bill that will repeal Obamacare lock, stock, and barrel. Now, a lot of economists out there, a lot of people are talking about it. You got some real smart economists out there. You see them on TV, like economists like Larry Kudlow and Steve Moore and others. They're pretty excited about this plan. Pretty excited about what it'll mean for American jobs and American growth. Quite a contrast to Hillary Clinton's plan that's projected to cost hundreds of thousands of jobs with its higher taxes and more regulation and more Obamacare. But Hillary Clinton's dubious about that. She actually said the other day that projections about the recovery under a Trump administration were, quote, wildly unrealistic. Now, I got to tell you, the only thing that's wildly unrealistic is electing the same people with the same bad ideas and expecting a different result. Donald Trump and I know the time-honored principles of less taxes, less regulation, more American energy, and smarter and tougher trade deals will create jobs in America for every American. You know, as this election approaches, there's one other issue on the ballot I always feel important to mention. And that is that while we're electing a president for the next 4 years, that president will probably set the course of the Supreme Court of the United States for the next 40 years. In a very real sense, the untimely passing of the late Justice Antonin Scalia has literally put the balance of the Supreme Court on the ballot in 2016. And as tragic as his passing was, and I and Karen had the privilege of paying our respects at the Supreme Court as he lay in state, it seems that when I think about it, it's altogether fitting that not only the destiny of the nation, but the destiny of the nation's highest court is in the hands of the American people on November the 8th. But you need to think about it. Men and women of Georgia, you got to think about it. You got to talk to your neighbors about it. If you care about the Constitution, if you care about the God-given liberties that are enshrined there, you need to think long and hard about what that means. When elect Hillary Clinton, you better get used to being subject to unelected judges using unaccountable power to make more unconstitutional decisions. Elect Donald Trump, and I promise you, you will have a president who stands without apology for the Constitution of the United States of America and for the God-given liberties that are enshrined there. So I say to you, for the sake of the rule of law, for the sake of the rule of law, for the sake of this sanctity of life, for the sake of our Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States, for the sake of all of the liberties enshrined in our Bill of Rights and founding documents, we must ensure from Georgia forward that the next president making appointments to the Supreme Court of the United States is President Donald Trump. You know, this is a very challenging time in the life of our nation. It truly is. It seems like there's so many things that divide us anymore. So few things that unite us in great purposes the way they once did. It's in moments like this when politics seem to fail us that I think it's important to remember, whatever you hear on all the talk shows, whatever the pundits say, there will always be more that unites us in the United States of America than will ever divide the good and great people of this land. It's true. Donald Trump and I know that. The last several weeks, many people have marveled and some people have complained about the way that Donald Trump has made it clear that when we talk about making America great again, we mean to make America great again for every American, regardless of race or creed or color. Unfortunately, the old playbook of the other party has come out. The playbook of division, dividing us along racial lines once again. You all have heard it. The hot speeches last week by Hillary Clinton and by her running mate. You know, I got to tell you, I think the American people are tired of politicians who divide the American people to unite their support and win elections. I truly believe that. I want to challenge. The American people are tired of politicians who divide the American people to unite their support and win elections. I truly believe that. We're tired of the divisive politics of the left. And so I want to challenge you. I want to challenge all of you today. As you go forward from here, I hope you've heard something about the issues in this campaign. I hope you've heard about the message that we have to deliver all across Georgia in the 71 days that remain in this campaign. But I hope as you present that choice to neighbors and friends here in Georgia, you'll talk as much about our aspirations as our frustrations. You'll talk as much about the change that we can make as you do with the choice that we face. Because I truly do believe that all the divisive rhetoric in the world, all the focus on what divides us, pales in comparison to when the American people recognize that we can be better, we can be stronger, we can have broad-shouldered leadership that commands the respect of the world again, and we can unleash the boundless potential of the American people on a foundation of the liberties enshrined in our Constitution. We can do it. But we've got to choose. So I want you to leave here tonight. I want you to tell somebody. Okay? I really do. I mean, tell somebody what you know about, not just about the cascade of controversies coming out of our opposition. It's just hard to keep up. I mean, for heaven's sakes, thousands of emails discovered that they didn't turn over. Now the State Department says they'll get around to releasing their schedule in December. The Justice Department wanted to start an investigation into the Clinton corruption, and the Obama administration shut them down. But I hope just as much that you talk about the stakes in this election. I hope just as much that you go out and talk about aspirations, because I want to assure you that Donald Trump answered the call of this country to step into the gap at such a time as this. Because Donald Trump and my little family are both the beneficiaries of the American dream. I mean, it's really amazing if you think about it. My grandfather immigrated to this country just like his did. His father built a business, was a self-made man. My dad built a small gas station business in a small town. Donald Trump and I were both raised to believe that to whom much is given, much will be required. And so we both of us went on to build on what we've been given and what we've been handed down. Believed in the American dream. And frankly, other than a whole bunch of zeros, we've just got a lot in common. It's true. But it's the same thing. I think the reason that he and I and our families made such a connection so quickly is because we both are humbled by what this country has meant for our family. And I just want to assure all of you, as you go out from here, let's lay out the choice. Let's lay out the choice between, this isn't a decision between electing someone who will have America do this well and someone else have America do this well. I truly do believe that this is a choice between someone who's determined to continue the failed policies that have weakened America abroad and have stifled our nation's economy, and someone who is willing to plant his feet in the ground, turn around, and lead the American people back up to the heights of greatness at home and abroad. That's what it is. But that's an aspirational message. So let's draw people to us. And also, I'd say one other thing before I close, and that is, if you're inclined to do as Karen and I do, from time to time, to bend the knee, we encourage you to do it. Not for a candidate or for a cause or for an election, but do as Americans have done and just pray for this country, because I truly do believe, as has been said for millennia, is still true today, that if his people who are called by his name will humble themselves and pray, he'll hear again and he'll heal this land. I believe it with all my heart. I believe it. So, my friends in Georgia, the choice could not be more clear. The American people can elect someone who literally personifies the failed establishment in Washington, D.C., or you can elect a leader who will fight every day to make America great again. But here's the choice, and I think this is another time for choosing. I truly believe it is. My wife's favorite poet is Robert Frost. And there's that really neat poem where it says, two roads diverged in a woods, and I took the road less traveled by, and it made all the difference. America's always taken the road less traveled by, the road of freedom and personal responsibility and rugged individualism. And we can choose that again this year, but we've got to make a choice. So let me lay it out for you one more time. If you want a president who will protect this nation, rebuild our military, restore the arsenal of democracy, confront radical Islamic terrorism, and rid the world of ISIS, if you want a president who will restore law and order to this country and give law enforcement officers the resources and support they need to protect our families and go home safe to theirs, if you want a president who will build strong borders, build a wall, end illegal immigration, and enforce the laws of this nation for the people of this nation, if you want a president who will cut taxes, grow our economy, squeeze every nickel out of that bloated federal bureaucracy, and repeal Obamacare lock, stock, and barrel, and lastly, and this one's my favorite, if you want a president who will upend the status quo in Washington, D.C., and uphold the Constitution and the highest standards in the highest office in the land, then I say to you here in Georgia, tell your neighbors and friends, we have but one choice. And that man is ready. This team is ready. This movement is ready. Let's go make sure that Georgia is ready, and we will make Donald Trump the 45th President of the United States of America, and he will make America great again.
In recent years, this country's gone to hell, and the cracks getting bigger on the side of that Liberty Bell. Well, Clinton, Obama, and the Democratic crew sure did enough.
All right, guys, thank you very much for joining us and choosing us as your stream of choice. I would just like to thank all the moderators for being awesome and keeping the chat clean, even though that today it was very good. There was a lot of love on the chat and everything went perfect. We just have a quick announcement. So on September the 11th, 2016, at 8:45 a.m., there's going to be a California Women's Unite for Trump event in Escondido, San Diego, California, and we will be streaming it live. It looks like a bunch of women for Trump, a bunch of ladies are going to go out there and they're going to rally and represent and take pictures and all that stuff just to show everyone that women are behind Trump 100%. So we will be out there live filming it and also streaming it and covering it for you guys, for Trump, because I'm 100% sure there's going to be no mainstream media there. So it's our duty to go out there and show our support, represent, and cover this event. So yeah, guys, I'll put up the notification just to kind of like remind everyone when it's going to be and all that stuff. So again, it's going to be, if you're in California, if you are in the San Diego County, Riverside County, or anything like that, it's going to be in Escondido. That's in San Diego. It's September 11th, 2016 at 8:45 a.m. So make sure you go out there. Make sure you show your support if you are in the area. And it's a California Women Unite for Trump event. We will be there live and we'll be streaming it like always. So yeah, guys, thank you very much for joining us. Hope you guys join us on the next rallies. Trump rally coming up. All the information is on our main channel. There's another news video coming out later today. We had one that came out this morning. If you haven't seen it yet, go to our main channel, check that out. Share it, like it, all that good stuff. If you would like to contribute anything to the channel, to the community, there's a few ways to do it. One, whitelist us on your ad blocker, and please don't skip the ads. And another way is watching our videos. And if you would like to contribute anything, there's a link in the description below for our PayPal. It helps us. Anything helps. It helps us continue our coverage. It helps us do live streams from Trump events. It helps us do original content and continue our coverage and our rallies for you guys. So yeah, thank you very much if you contribute. Also, share on social media. That's probably the most important thing, more than anything else, is sharing our live streams, the link to our live streams, sharing our videos, everything, putting it out there on social media. That's the most important thing for me personally, is for people to share our stuff. It helps us grow, it helps us reach more people, and it helps us get the message out. So sharing is the number one thing. So thank you very much. Hope to see you guys next time. Peace. There's someone that said on the chat to give RSBN a shout out. What the hell is the matter without? I really don't want to say anything. I really don't want to go off. But yesterday when we were doing the live coverage of the Latinos for Trump thing, those sons of bitches were talking shit to me on Twitter about it, saying that they were going to be there on the, all this stuff. They weren't even there. That son of a bitch is a fucking liar. He's a fucking cheat and a thief. He was stealing the feed from Periscope. He was stealing the feed from fucking Periscope, and it was choppy and all this stuff. And, you know, nobody could watch it. It was tons of complaints. It didn't get any fucking views. I confronted him about it, and he blocked me on Twitter because he's a little bitch. And what's it called? And I told him if he was going to be at the thing yesterday, that I wanted to talk to him one-on-one, face-to-face, none of this Twitter bullshit. It was going to be face-to-face, and we were just going to squash it once and for all. He didn't send anybody. None of his quote-unquote employees, like he calls them, or team was there. Even though he kept on advertising on Twitter over and over and over again that they were going to be there live, that they were going to be there covering it, that they were going to do this, they were going to do that. They weren't there. So we will never advertise RSBN, nor we will ever affiliate with them whatsoever. So yeah, I just want to say that real quick. So see you guys later.